Class at 6:30 a.m.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today morning's Bhagavatam class. Today we are going to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 26th chapter, 42nd shloka. Hare Krishna. We'll chant by saying the prayers. If you know it, please chant alongside with me, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirate Nashtaprayasya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki. So welcome, dear devotees. I'm going to link up with Vedabase. If one of you can please confirm that you can see the screen and hear the audio properly.
Yes, we do see properly.
Thank you, Mataji. Nabo guna visheshortho yasya tachrotamuchyate vayur guna visheshortho yasya tatsparshanam vidu. Would anyone like to chant this verse? Okay. Nabho guna visheshortho
अर्थ यशस्य तत्रोच मुच्यते वायो गुण विशेषो अर्थ यस्य तत् स्पर्शन विदुः.
Very good, Neelu Mataji. Any other devotee, please? Okay, I'll read it for the third time. Nabho guna visheshortho yasya tachrotram uchyate vayor guno visheshortho yasya tatsparpanam vidhu. Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Synonyms, Nabha guna vishesha, the distinctive characteristic of sky, sound, artha, object of perception, yasya, whose, tat, that, shrotram, the auditory sense, uchyate is called, vayo, guna vishesha, the distinctive characteristic of air, touch, artha, object of perception, yasya, whose, tat, that, sparshanam, the tactile sense, vidu, they know. Translation. The sense whose object of perception is sound is called the auditory sense, and that whose object of perception is touch is called the tactile sense. Purport. Sound is one of the qualifications of the sky and is the subject matter for hearing. Similarly, touch is the qualification of the air and is the subject of the touch sensation. This is a small purport, very short purport, but it has a lot of significance, to the practices that a devotee undertakes, the spiritual practices. Hare Krishna. We'll do the Mangalacharan prayer. If you know it, please chant alongside with me. Om Agnyantimirantasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Paramayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhutam Sadhutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste
नमः
तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे
गौराङ्गी राधे
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
कृष्णभानुसुते देवी
हे
प्रणमामि
देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
वाञ्छकल्पातरुभ्यश्च सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
नमो नमः
ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते
यद्वेदाधर
भक्तिवेदान्त
श्रीवासदि
स्वामी नामिने
गौरभक्ताः हरे
नमस्ते
कृष्ण
सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी
हरे
प्रचारिणे
हरे
निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna and good morning. So, this is the first class of New Year. We had the celebration 3, 4 days ago, New Year. So, actually, what is new is in the material world, there is nothing new. It's temporarily new. So, New Year aaya, New Year chale gaya. Christmas came, Christmas went. Thanksgiving came, Thanksgiving went. Birthdays, anniversaries come and go. And again, it gets repeated. Again, it gets repeated. That's one of the characteristics of the material existence. Whereas spiritual is the opposite. So it's always new. Navayavanam. Always new. So this is one thing we need to understand. So today's verse talks about sound and touch. So how we can connect the sound and touch into that eternality. That's what we'll understand in this next 20 minutes. Okay, so purpose of sound and touch. Of course, we all are familiar with what sound and touch is and how it could either be, it's a double-edged sword. It can either degrade or it could elevate the consciousness. It can further trap us into this temporary situation of a material condition, or it could elevate that consciousness to connect with the eternal. Hare Krishna. So here is an aphorism, okay, the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi Asya Yata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the origin of all emanation. Now, this word Godhead, we all know what it is, but, for those of you who are new on the Sangha, Godhead is the absolute truth, which has three stages of realization. First is that it's all pervading aspect, the omnipresence. That's called the Brahman. Then, after that, the higher stage of realization is the localized aspect called Paramatma, where it is there embedded with everything, whatever is there, that is animate as well as inanimate objects, known in Sanskrit as the Paramatma. And the topmost realization is Bhagavan. Okay, Bhagavan is the title for like how we have CFO, CEO. Title is conferred on a person. So the supreme person, the absolute truth, is the supreme person, correct? And he has many names, many forms, and the original is called Krishna, Bhagavan. Yeah, so this is what it is. So here it says, Janmadi Asya Yatah. Okay, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead is the origin of all emanations. So whatever we see around us, whatever it be, everything has come from Krishna. Even Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma, when he's doing his prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he says, Ishwar Parama Krishna. Ishwar is the controller, Parama, supreme. The supreme controller is Krishna. Ishwar, Parama, Krishna, Satchitananda Vigraha. Vigraha is form. His form is full of Sat, eternality, Chit, knowledge, awareness, Ananda, bliss. Ishwar, Parama, Krishna, Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. The operative word here is Sarva Karana Karanam. Anadiradir, Anadir Adir means that person who has no beginning, the causeless cause of all causes, everything. Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes, but there's nothing which has caused them, the causeless cause of all causes. So we can understand from the Vedas, the Sutras, the Brahma Samhita, and so many other texts that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the origin of everything. Hare Krishna. Now, with this in mind, okay, we can understand what is the origin of sound and touch. Now, Krishna has many, many energies. Has what is called energy Shakti, and he's Shaktiman, the possessor of these energies. In a very broad state, these energies can be classified in three categories. One is his internal potency, which is the spiritual potency. The other is his marginal energy. And then the third is the external energy. The external energy is the material energies, and these are innumerable. Okay, the marginal energy are the jivatmas, all as spirit soul, and then you have the internal energy. Hare Krishna. So his material energies are, of these there are two aspects. One is called the pradhan, or also known as mahat tattva, and time. We are familiar with time. What is mahat tattva? Mahat is anything, is all the ingredients, like the primordial soup, everything is there, for material creation. Whatever you see, it is that Mahat Tattva. And then there is this factor of time, Kala. Okay, Bhagavad Gita, he says, right? Time, I am the destroyer of everything. So, because of time, stuff comes into creation and stuff also goes into dissolution. Appears, disappears, appears, disappears. We can understand the effect of time in our own lives, correct? Once upon a time, we were newborn babies, brand new. Okay, now we have aged. The skin starts drooping, the eyesight gets weak, or someone like me needs hearing aids, or whatever. Everything is changing. Time changes everything. That's why it has the destructive force. So time, you can look at it as a churning rod. Okay, and Mahat is the pot with um, all the ingredients. So वो लस्सी बनाने का है, so there is dahi, sugar, malai, everything is there in that, whatever is required. So that is Mahat. So time is being churned. Time is that churning rod, and then all that bubbles come up and things. So time, churns Mahat and Prakriti. Prakriti is what is called creation. Prakriti is the Sanskrit word for creation. So there are infinite universes, infinite. I mean, whatever we have realized now is just, not on a tiny speck. And that also is, mind boggling. So that is the creation that is there. So this is what is the understanding of what the origin of sound and touch is. And we'll see in the next slides how this manifests into sound and touch. So the cause of creation, Prakriti, is Mahat. It is the effect, and the effect, the cause is Mahat, and the effect is Prakriti. Hare Krishna. So this is stated in Vedanta Sutra, coming back to the first point, Janmadvi Asya Yataha. Hare Krishna. Now, this Mahat, what there is that there are what is the Mahat made up of? So all the ingredients required for creation is there. So, this is a nice little chart which talks about, it has the subtle element, gross elements. We are familiar with this: ether, air, water, fire, earth. Yeah. And then these gross elements have something which is a qualifying aspect of that. So from ether comes sound, in air there is touch, because in absence of this gross elements, there's no sense objects. And then with sense objects, what are the knowledge acquiring senses don't exist. If knowledge acquiring senses are not there, these working senses do not come. So today we're going to be talking about ether and air, that is namely sound and touch. Hare Krishna. So ether is also known as space. We're all familiar with space. Space is everywhere. Whatever you see, there is nothing where there's no space. So they say there is vacuum. Yeah, even in vacuum, it is space. Yeah. So space is a physical attribute, a physical quantity. And then there is air, correct? Air is the motion of the particles within that. Now, last class we had discussed, there are 10 broad categories of air. There are five gross and five subtle. We won't get into that because of time consideration. So, air and space. So, what does ether do? Okay, it provides space and it is a platform for prana. Prana is a type of air, the life airs, as you can say, senses and the mind. It can't just exist, it needs a base, correct? So that's what ether provides. And sound is the sense object of ether. So if there is no space, there is no sound, because if you have studied your physics, in the middle school, you would know that what is sound? Sound is air vibration. It propagates through space. In event of no space, there is no sound. You cannot have sound. Okay. So what sound does now is it conveys an idea of the object. I have highlighted these points, very important. So, for example, I'm sitting in this room doing the discourse, Bhagavatam, sharing with you, correct? Now, downstairs, Sachi Rani is preparing her breakfast, and I can hear the sound of the vessels clanking slightly over here. Now, I have an understanding that she is preparing. Can I see it? No. So I'm having an idea of this. Okay. And it also gives the presence of the source when it is screened from view. So, for example, little kids, they'll be doing musty in the bedroom, and the parent is in the living room watching news or doing something. And then they will shout, cut it down, turn it down. Now, the kid can't see, correct? But it knows. So, similarly, there are many things that we cannot see with our eyes. They say, no, hidden from plain view. We cannot see, but yet we can understand through sound. So, spiritual sciences is seeing through the ear. Very important. Sound, जो है, you can actually get to know more and more and more details till such time all the other senses can be uh, engaged in understanding what that is, which hitherto was hidden from us. Hare Krishna. Now, what air does is air is always in motion, air is not static. Okay. And whatever are the sense objects, it brings it to the senses, and the senses get alive. So, touch is the sense object of air. And this is very self-explanatory. You know that, something is soft, hard, hot, cold, etc., is what these attributes of air are. Hare Krishna. Now, how the sound can touch or degrade. Sound and touch can degrade our uh, consciousness, or it could, elevate it. So understand that we spoke this earlier, right? These are energies, the material energy, the external energy of Krishna, of which, two of these manifestations are sound and touch. Now, there is a free will. All of us have a free will, which we call the choice. Depending on how we use a free will, energy is something which is required to do work. To do something, you need energy, correct? And it is our choice how we make use of this energy. So it could either be destructive when it is for our own sense gratification. Now, someone may ask this question, and very valid. that, oh, I like to listen to music and it really puts me in a good mood. Yes, it definitely does, because sound is an energy. Sound is, I remember learning in school that when an army marches on a bridge, they march in unison and there is that sound, tuck, 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 tuck. They're marching. Now that vibration, okay, what they do is when they cross a bridge, they don't march in unison. Because if you're marching in unison, the amplitude or the force of that energy can be so great that it can crumble the bridge. So sound uh, is a very powerful thing. Now, what happens is the sound can be used for sense gratification. Like, let's say, oh, I like music, and yes, definitely. But what it does is it will give you temporary pleasure, because that music is only um, touching the mental faculty in the mind. So, everything is in motion, everything is vibrating. So, there are certain vibrations which will then, at that mind, and it can kind of, jo chanchal, the mind is all turbulent, it can bring it down, and that kind of releases whatever those hormones are, endorphins or whatever. I'm not a medical person. That's what it does. That's what sound does. But then after a while, it's gone. That effect is gone. So, it could touch your mental, the subtle body. Okay. It could also uh, affect the heart, what they say, emotion. It can do that. But it is temporary, please understand. And these temporary pleasures, as they say, in the fruits of happiness or pleasure in the material condition, are the seeds of sorrow. It's only a matter of time before it fructifies. Hare Krishna. Now, the constructive part is sense engagement. So, does it mean that you remain miserable? That we are in this situation, kya karenge? No. If we understand our true identity, who I am, then everything comes into perspective as to this body, the outside gross body of the senses, the five senses, the settled body of mind, intelligence, and ego. What is the purpose of this and what it can be used for? So, if it is aligned, if it is in harmony, then there is no question of pain, and it has connected to that permanence. Now, this process of reconnecting, of um, re establishing our consciousness with our true identity, that is called bhakti or Krishna consciousness. Krishna, the Supreme Personality God, source of everything, consciousness, being aware of that. So, being aware of who I am, being aware of who Krishna is, what is my relation. He is the source of everything, He is the whole and soul. I am a part and parcel. Part is obviously meant to serve the whole. So, the senses can be engaged, and then that kind of pleasure which comes is not temporary. It's not like New Year. Ayaram Gayaram, here today, gone tomorrow. It is ever increasing. Hare Krishna. So sound is also touch, no? Oh, it touched my heart. Oh, it's very touching what they say. So sound is also touch. Now, one way to engage the senses, the sense of sound, we have this tongue. Tongue has two purposes, to talk and to taste. So the sound, that aspect of making sound, it can be, when you, for example, you're doing japa. You do japa on your beads. You don't need beads to do japa. You could be doing japa. There's no rules and regulations for doing japa. So when you're chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yeah. So when chanting Mahamantra, you're touching you're feeling, your sense of touch is also engaged. These are Tulsi beads. Tulsi beads have a lot of spiritual potency. Now, for someone, it may seem like mumbo jumbo. Like, ये सब, it's just, Manu to मैं Ganga Mahu, na Manu to मैं बहता pani. There was a film song many years ago. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. Truth is truth, whether you believe in it or you don't believe in it. Whether you call Ganga gutter water, doesn't make her gutter water. She remains as it is. 2 plus 2 is 4. Someone may say, no, 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 it is 5. 1 billion people may say it's 5. The entire world may say it's 5. But the reality is 2 plus 2 is 4. Yeah. So similarly, this way, Tulsi bead has a lot. So when you're in contact, that physical contact, It brings about these transformations. And it is so true even in a material condition. I remember my grandma saying that my grandma used to do everything at home. She never got anything from the bazaar. Even the powder, chili powder and all, she used to call those buys and they used to pound it in that big mortar, things like that. So if the young girls, they had their monthly cycle, she would tell them, no, you're not supposed to touch the pickle or make pickles. Why? Because that touch, because when there is, and science knows there is a certain type of secretion, which is there, and that has a adverse reaction with whatever is being prepared. So if in a material thing this is holds true, the same thing you can understand through common sense that there is something where it will hold true for spiritual stuff. So chanting with that Tulsi bead, correct? It brings transformation, not just here in the mind. Okay, it penetrates through the ear hole and goes straight and reawakens the soul, which is in a dormant stage. The soul is thinking that it is the body. It identifies with the body. It revives. उसको जैसे एक सोए आदमी को उठाते हैं. That's what it does. So, this is what sound and this is what air is all about. So Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. Last night, my sister-in-law, Bharati, she sent this thing, on WhatsApp, the family group, and such a beautiful saying. If gratitude is your wrapping, then everything is a gift. Now, we've been chanting for several years, or maybe someone has just started. Someone may be doing just one round. Someone may be doing it occasionally. Someone is doing 62 rounds. For New Year, devotees collectively chanted over 1 million names. Japa they did. Phenomenal. Yeah. So, but still, I'm still not feeling that taste. I'm still not feeling that pleasure because simply that the mind is too turbulent and we have other things that we're thinking about. But if we're actually grateful that what we have, what is given to us, we understand the value. So, gratitude, if that is our attitude, then everything becomes a gift. So, humble request that next time when you pick up the bead, just give it a thought, you know, that why am I doing it? What I have with me. And, we'll align our soul with the supreme consciousness. Hare Krishna. We have 3 minutes. If anybody has a question, comment, or a realization, you can unmute and ask them. Hare Krishna. The class was on sound and everyone's is silent. Prabhupada says silence is not absence of sound. Silence is that sound which quietens down all the other noises, the material noises. Okay, over to you, Madhupati Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhuji, you have given a basic understanding real goods, and I understood exactly what is a science. I never knew this about it.
Thank you, Mataji. All credit goes to all the Guru Varga and so many Vaishnavas. When we listen, even if it's not understanding, it is entering. It is having an effect. Jaise ki Tylenol, you're a doctor. How many people know what's the ingredients of Tylenol? How many people know that how that chemical goes and dulls, or even know that how these medicines work with the nerve
Right.
receptors? It
And also, medicine works at the, if you have a headache, it works on a head. If you have a knee
yeah,
pain, it works on a knee.
yeah.
That
So
Tylenol.
yeah,
So
so you
it works
don't
where your system is weak.
exactly, exactly. So we don't know what the working and the intricacies are. But we have faith. The doctor says, "Acha, ye hai, ye karo." You take it.
Right.
So you take that Tylenol, and it works. So similarly, these are transcendental sounds. This is not ordinary vibration. It is an energy. It is that spiritual energy, which is the higher form of energy, which comes here in this material world, which is the lower form of energy.
Mhm.
And then what it does, it elevates. Heat always flows, from top to down. Water flows from top to down. Knowledge comes from top to down.
Down.
So when you get
Yep.
connected, it works. It just works. You have to try it to do it. They say taste of the pudding is in eating. So yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
Okay, it's 7 o'clock.
Time up. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
you can
Just
post.
somehow this our Indian, I think it's a totally Indian culture of when you are during your periods, you don't touch things, you don't enter, like you can't do so many things, which is
Yeah,
even rampant. I mean, which is
yeah,
even prevalent even now.
yeah.
So somehow, as a doctor, I fail to understand the science behind it. Like you say, even if there are some vibrations or some aura or something coming out from the body which is impure, or and how it will even but just by touching the plate and by touching entering the तुम किचन में नहीं आने का ये टाइम पे तुम इधर नहीं आओ तुम अपने माँ के घर पे चली जाओ. Even my friend currently she had a divorce because of this same reason,
Hmm.
that so somehow this thing doesn't gel in me.
I, yeah, first thing, like the last statement will work backwards. It doesn't gel with me. We all have some level of understanding, Mataji, through our common sense, through our education, through our training, through our experiences, correct? But nobody can say that whatever I know is full, complete, and whatever I know is completely perfect. Because whatever we know can, Mataji, just 1 minute, please hold on. Bear with me a second.
At 7:02 a.m.
What we can do, Mataji, it's a little, we can address it on the Nityam Bhagavad Seva, if it's okay with you, because I need to get to
Yes, Prabhuji.
have a
Yes.
train to catch. I'm so sorry about that.
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
we can
Yes. Thank you,
definitely address
Prabhuji.
this, Mataji, in
Yeah.
Nityam Bhagavad Seva. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Adhupati Prabhu.
Hare
I'll have to log off now, but if someone can bring the class to close, I don't know who's there. Krishna Namanand Prabhu or Simeshwar Prabhu, can you bring the class to a close, please? Hare Krishna.
You want me to sing Vancha Kalpataruscha Krupa Sindhu Eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namah. Om Gram Hiram Vishnu Jwalantam Sarvatom Kamnasim Vishram Bhadram Mrityum Namamayam. Hare Krishna.